The job market in 2025 in Canada compared to the job market in 2021 is very different. But companies are still hiring despite the overall slowdown. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to get a job in Canada, whether you are a Canadian, a permanent resident, a newcomer, or you're applying from overseas. This video is perfect for you. First, we're going to talk about the job market in Canada. Then we'll cover what's unique about the job application process here. And finally, we'll go over the visa options and requirements if you're planning to move to Canada from overseas. Hey guys, I am Lucy. I am the CEO and founder of Lucy John International and Hey Globally. On Lucy John International, we help talent find jobs anywhere in the world, and we're here to support you every step of the way. And Hey Globally is a platform that connects employers and talent across the globe, from technical to non-technical roles, from entry-level positions all the way to C-level executives. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's talk about the job market in Canada right now. Things have been changing really fast. The job market in 2025 in Canada compared to the job market in 2021 is very different. Even 2023, right? So the job market in Canada has been changing really fast. To give you some context, in October 2025, the unemployment rate was 6.9% across the country. But if you look at the provinces, it's a bit higher in some places. For example, Ontario, where Toronto is, it is 7.6%. What this really means is that there's more competition for jobs, and with all the tech layoffs happening, it's not getting any easier. But companies are still hiring. Some industries are doing really well despite the overall slowdown. If you look at Toronto and Vancouver, there's still lots of opportunities in financial services industry, including banks, insurance companies, and fintech firms and payment companies. Tech is also hiring, especially Canadian startups, scale-ups, IT consulting firms, and energy sectors like mining, oil and gas, and renewables are also hiring. If you work in mining and oil and gas industries, Calgary is a great place to take a look at job opportunities as well. So as a job seeker, it is super important to understand the market so you can figure out where you fit in and how to play to your strengths. A lot of people also ask about languages. Honestly, French is the main one that matters. It used to be mostly Quebec jobs that require French. Now being bilingual in French and English gives you a huge advantage even in Toronto. Other languages like Korean, Japanese, Mandarin, Spanish, German, or any other languages can help sometimes, but those roles that require these languages are very rare in Canada comparing to the Netherlands and Singapore, for example. So speaking other languages would not be as valued in Canada. Now, moving on to the next topic, which is job application process in Canada. In Canada, first of all, it's pretty common to just submit a resume. Cover letters are optional, but honestly, it's pretty common to submit just a resume. But of course, when you apply for a job online, most applications have a little box where you can introduce yourself, share your interest in the role, your motivation of applying for this role. For that part, I highly recommend adding a short note. You can keep it clear and concise. It can definitely help you stand up. And also another tip here is that if you do not have a Canadian work experience yet, and if you only have work experiences in your home countries, make sure to mention that you're authorized to work in Canada on your resume. Now, moving on to the next topic, visa requirements and visa options in Canada. Broadly speaking, there are 3 different ways to work in Canada if you are not originally from Canada. First, you have an open work permit. This basically means that you can work for any employer in Canada and you do not need sponsorship. You can get this open work permit after studying in Canada or through the IEC streams. For the IEC streams, if you're from South Korea, you can apply for a working holiday visa for up to 24 months, and you can actually participate twice. That means you could potentially work in Canada for up to 4 years with this open work permit, which is a working holiday visa in this scenario. The second possible visa option to work in Canada is through a permanent residency. Immigration policy has changed a lot in Canada and is continuing to change as well. So we do not know what's going to happen in 2026 and in the future. However, as of today, I would say, if you speak French, maybe there's a possible way for you to move to Canada with permanent residency. But this again, depending on your profile, depending on your education and experience and so on. But French language proficiency is a huge advantage right now. Or let's say you work in certain sectors like healthcare or others, then you might have a chance to move to Canada with a permanent residency. But that again it really depends, right? So you might want to check your CRS score. You can check on the immigration website as well, but you could look into different programs and see if you can potentially apply for a permanent residency in Canada. So that's the second way. And the next one would be visa sponsorship from an employer. But getting a visa sponsorship from an employer as a foreign worker is quite common in countries like Singapore, the Netherlands, Germany, the UK, even in South Korea as well. Let's say if you work in marketing, sales, data, engineering, product, then you can get a visa sponsorship from an employer and work in that country. However, in Canada, yes, there is a visa sponsorship. However, it's a little bit different. I would say if you work in corporate, if you work in marketing, for example, getting a visa sponsorship to work in Canada would be very difficult. As I mentioned here, Canada is a country where people tend to immigrate rather than just move here as an expat for a couple of years. So people usually move here to study first and getting a work permit or getting a permanent residency, as I mentioned before. So I would say if your country is on the list of the IEC streams, I highly recommend checking that out and making sure which stream you can apply for, etc. For today's video, we talk about the job market in Canada. I'm currently based in Canada. If you want to learn a little bit more about how to get a job in Canada, make sure to reach out to me through LinkedIn or via my email, whichever works best for you. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.